think we're good. Okay. Hey guys, welcome back to week 6.
Week 6.
That's not a mistake. We are, no matter how you look at it, we are halfway through the season. Week
Yeah.
6. Um, I guess we're gonna start this show off with Coach Contreras. Our deepest sympathies goes out to the Kingsville community and his family up in Dallas. He's originally from Dallas. If you guys aren't up to speed on what happened, so last week at the Toloso Kingsville game, Coach Contreras, who was a junior high coach, varsity assistant, passed out on the sidelines pregame, and the EMS staff on site was unable to resuscitate him, put him in an ambulance, head him to the hospital, and they had no more luck on the way to the hospital or at the hospital. So he unfortunately passed away Friday night, which postponed the Kingsville Toloso Midway game to Saturday. So that's, you don't see that every day, right? And which was supposed to be a joyous night for everybody, right? It's football Friday night, it's football season. Turned in the worst day of somebody's life, right? His family and the Kingsville staff and the community and the kids. That's pretty rough. We had a similar situation when I was a senior. We were playing in San Antonio South Side at where the Cardinals play, and our superintendent had a stroke in the stands. It's actually Coach Troutman's dad, PM Troutman.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Bina. We're on the side. We had no idea what was going on. The game was just delayed, and we didn't know what was happening. And man, it was probably delayed a good hour, and we didn't find out till after the game what had happened. And so it's definitely different. It didn't affect us as a team because, like I said, we didn't really know what happened until after the game. But I can only imagine what was going through those kids' minds at the time, because it kickoff did not happen because of that. And you saw a lot of banter, back and forth. These kids need longer. This is gonna be better. But it turns out they had a team vote. They let the kids decide whether they wanted to play or not, and they said no. We want to honor coach, and when we're gonna play. So they did leave it up to the kids and the staff. And I would it's part of the healing process, right? People grieve different, people heal different. So again, man, we send our condolences to Coach Contreras' family and the Kingsville community and everybody else.
Yeah, it's a rough one, dude. That's tough. Uh, it's just a sad situation, right? It's kind of shocking too because my mom actually broke that news to me before even you did, and I don't know. It's hard to take, right? Because you kind of like as we do this show, right? Those dudes kind of become like a little bit of your friends, and we don't even know, right? We didn't know Coach Contreras at all, but
Yeah.
we know Ruben and them, and you like to consider them pretty good friends of it. So it's almost like one of your good friends just lost a good buddy, and it's just a tough one to take. And like I said, like we're part of the football community in South Texas, so that's a pretty big loss to everybody. And yeah, it's just crazy. It's hard. I think it's hard for those kids to go through something like that. But you are right. The grieving process is different for everybody, and I do kind of think playing that game was kind of a nice stepping stone to move forward, right? Because you have that little blemish, and you're able to bounce back and kind of get people's minds right and whatnot and move forward. So yeah, it's tough, dude, and definitely condolences to his family and whatnot moving forward.
Now how do we move on from that, right? So just some other news that has popped up this week. So Snapshot Day has gotten released. It got released earlier in the week, and those of you guys not familiar, next year is a realignment cycle, right? Every 2 years, the UIL starts to shuffle the deck a little bit, and we start getting new districts, new cutoffs, and whatnot. So October 27th is the time for the districts to turn in their enrollment snapshots to look at projections for the alignment, which will happen in February of 24. The cutoffs will actually be released late to mid, or mid to late November. So you'll kind of have more or less an idea of where your team's going to fall. You just don't know what district they're going to be in, right? Depending where you're at. Like Cuero got moved to Region 3 this last realignment, right? They're always dancing on that line, 3-4, 3-4. They could come back to Region 4. They could stay in Region 3. Who knows? Some of the rumors that I'm hearing down the valley, Raymondville may actually drop down to 3A next year from
Really?
4A, from 4A D2 down to 3A D1. We're hearing Ed Couch may take a drop from 5A D2 to 4A D1. and
Well,
some of the
that
yeah,
sometimes is beneficial to these teams, right? Ed Couch ain't been the same in a while
yeah,
since we've seen him. Raymondville, every time you drop down a classification, like sometimes it's got some good. It helps you out a lot.
yeah,
You get stuck away playing these teams that have 300-400 more enrollment than you, and you don't realize it, but that makes a big difference. And uh, I mean, it helps those schools out, right? Because you get placed in some bad spots, and it
yeah.
can also help with scheduling. I think it gets Raymondville out of our region, right? So they're not traveling as much.
Maybe,
Maybe,
right?
could
Maybe,
be. Right?
yeah.
Hopefully
And
for them.
and then talking to the Odom guys, Odom is small 3A D2, right? We're at I think we're 15 kids above the line. So you would think that dropping down to 2A would be beneficial for these guys, but not necessarily. 4A or 2A D1 Region 4 is pretty tough.
Yeah.
So it's pick your poison, right? And football, it's kind of the playing field's kind of a little evened out with football, right? Because you got D1, D2, but where you start running the issues is the other sports, basketball, football, or basketball, baseball, softball, right? Where 3A is 3A, 4A is 4A, and you're seeing an enrollment of a high school that's got 200 kids upwards to 400, 500 in a bigger 3A school, right? So that's where it kind of gets a little shaky, a little sketch. But I mean,
Baseball's not divided either, correct? Baseball's
no,
just like, yeah,
yeah,
okay, see. Yeah, see, that's where you get the good divide right there. Like the Bernie schools that came down last year and played Sinton, I feel like they have a lot more,
oh yeah,
kids from than Sinton,
yeah,
just based off their enrollment as well.
yeah, yeah. China Spring, same thing, right?
China Spring for sure.
Yeah. So some of the other things, speaking of, before we move on to anything else, man, some of the other things that have popped up. Terry Bussey. If you guys saw that, Terry Bussey, the number one athlete in the nation. Am I right?
Yeah,
Yeah, just committed to A&M today. Right.
big.
So big get for the Ags, right? Big get for the Ags. And you can probably expect that guy to play next year. Because if you look, Dalton Brooks, another 2A standout from Shiner, he's seeing some playing time.
Yes.
Right. And you got Ruben Owens, who's toting the rock there quite a bit. And then you've got the Flash, who's also committed to A&M. But I don't know if you kind of pick up on the trend that I'm saying there, right? So these are all small school guys,
Yeah,
right?
for
2A
sure.
D1, 2A D1, right? Does that
Hmm.
necessarily mean you have to play at a bigger school to get looks?
No, and that's the thing too that like we saw Terry Bussey live in action, man, and
Yep.
the kid's an athlete, right? And then his story on top of that's even more insane. Once you've seen him as an athlete, you don't know the backstory like we did, and then like six
He
months
has a
later,
very
they
interesting
drop,
backstory.
they drop that background on you, and you're like, man, that just really blows you away a little bit. So Terry Bussey, huge get for my Ags. I kind of had an insider on that one, and I was pretty positive going into it. I didn't even look for the commitment. I was pretty positive he was going to take it. But you never know, right? Stuff's in college recruiting, dude. Things move, and it's not even over until you sign the dotted line in December, right? So things are fluid.
Yeah.
But that is a good get. I will say this: the Ags have done a really good job this year. Years past, it's been infiltrating Houston. This year, they've went deep East Texas. They have a lot of their big commits are from deep East Texas right now, and they're not all from big schools. So yeah, it's kind of cool. You see that trend, and then and I was just talking about like I know this kind of venturing, right? But I was talking to one of the coaches around here, and we're talking about Smith from Ingleside, and 2 years in a wing T offense, right? And then he finally gets into a spread offense, and he gets a North Texas offer. It
Yeah.
makes you kind of wonder what kind of offers he would have gotten had they been in that system the entire time, right? He's leading the state in
Yeah.
big
He's number
in a
one.
lot of numbers, right? So he's it's technically that's a mid range small school, and if you ever get a chance to see him, I've said it before, man, he's one of the best athletes in this area. So it goes to show, offenses can dictate kind of some of these dudes' looks, early on, and I
Yep.
don't know, it's part of the trend, man, but it's kind of cool.
Some of the other things that have popped up, streaming. So we've talked about this kind of a little bit, right? And I got on my little soapbox again with it today. Streaming, my opinion, it's hurting attendance. You know, we were at that Cuero Cal Allen game 2 weeks ago, and that's a game you thought would have been packed, and the stands were pretty much empty, both sides.
For their
Because it's
standard,
yeah, to the standard, right? I mean, those are two blue blood programs, like I said, and normal pre-COVID stands are packed that game,
yeah,
right? Um, I get it. It's convenient. But if you're staying home watching these games, you're taking money away from these kids,
Yeah.
right? You're not buying the sausage wraps from the booster club. You're not going to the concession stand sponsoring the band. Any of the other clubs that make money off these things, the gates, losing that gate revenue, so districts are losing money. And a lot of times the districts are providing the stream, so the districts aren't making money off
Here's
the
my
stream as
question.
off the stream as well.
Here's my question. Do they get money off the advertisements on the stream though?
Well,
To make
some don't.
Do you think
Some
it
don't.
balances out?
Some
No.
don't have advertisements,
Okay.
right? I don't think Cal Allen TV has advertisements. I don't
I didn't pay
think
attention enough.
the Flower Bluff channel has advertisements,
So
right?
it's
But
probably a funded one.
yeah, because it's a school provided stream, right? That the students do or the staff does.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I It's not COVID anymore. I'm not a big fan of it anymore. I mean, it was cool. We helped out. We called games, right? But that was COVID, right?
That was a
Um,
whole other animal in itself when
yeah.
COVID happened. Uh,
So I don't know. I think it's time to bring them down, man. Start getting back to the games. Go to the games. You know?
I think it's yeah, you're right, man. I'm kind of I'm with you on that because as much as I love the streams when we're stuck at work or
Yeah. I mean,
it,
yeah, I will say that. Yeah, it helps us.
break away, like it is super nice. But for like the local times, like I definitely like pack the stands, man. It's a lot better. For sure, I will go with you on that one. And we've said it before. Also, a little bit too. Like I wonder, we're paying at the pump as well, and I don't want to get in the political thing, but that in the past, I remember when I was a kid and uh, whenever the gas shot up, right? I remember my parents complaining about the gas prices. I know that would deter people back then sometimes from traveling to the further games, but even the local games still right now, it's kind of like we used to have more people in the stands, 100%, and
Yeah.
it'd be nice to get back to that.
Something else that popped up. Just one of the things that I saw that kind of caught my eye. Tidehaven. I think they're like number 3 in 3A D2. They're 4-0. They haven't allowed a point all season. They've
Damn.
scored 196 points, have not allowed a score all season.
Well, they were put on the list to make a trip to Jerry World, right?
Yeah, well, that was as a dark horse, but I don't really think these guys are a dark horse, man.
I need to look at the regions and see how that shakes down because yeah, you're right. They can make a pretty good run. That's impressive. That's an impressive number for sure.
Yeah. The other thing, so we've got a little bit of news to pop up. It's still kind of a little fluid right now, I guess, a little bit, but we've been approached, Justin and I and the brand South Texas Football Unlimited. We've been contacted by the Corpus Christi Tritons. If you guys aren't familiar with what the Tritons are, it's the new indoor arena football team that's coming that should start this March. Actually, the CEO Kevin Cecil reached out to us, man, well, a couple months back, maybe a month ago, right? And we kind of hadn't heard anything, and they got back with us. They want us to be the official Tritons podcast, right? So I'm not very familiar with the arena game, and I told Kevin that. I know you're a little more rounded with it, but they have an interesting hire as the head coach. Good friend of ours, right? Number one,
Chavez.
number one in our hearts, and number one on the roster. Coach Chavez, the offensive coordinator at Miller, he'll be taking up the head coaching duties for that arena team here in Corpus. So
Not Miller. It's a second job.
he's not leaving Miller. Yes, it is a second job. He's got nothing but good things to say about this ownership. They're trying to do things a little different than what they did before. They were the previous owners of the San Antonio Gunslingers in San Antonio. So they're bringing it down here. They like the Corpus area. They are, believe it or not, him and his partner, they are actually Bexar County sheriff's deputies. So this isn't their full-time job. They're law enforcement. So that's going to be pretty interesting. We've never done it before. They reached out to us. So they must like what they hear or see. Right?
I'll be honest. The only thing arena football I remember is I used to watch back when arena football it had the AFL brand on Sundays in the off season. I think on NBC or whatever it was. He had like the Dallas Renegade and Philadelphia Soul, Arizona Rattlers, teams like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I did watch it. It was good. I even played the video games. Like so, I am pretty familiar weirdly with the rules of the game. There's some little things that Chavez would have to explain to us. But if you're not familiar with Coach Chavez, right? He's got a background in he had a cup of coffee, I think, in the NFL at one point with the Browns.
Yep.
He did a little bit of arena football himself before getting into the coaching role, and even once he got into the coaching role, he continued on doing arena football and a little bit of A&M Kingsville. So he's been a part of past organizations, and I think past organizations have failed because the league has folded, not really so much our personnel doing. So one of my things when you approached me about it, I kind of laughed a little bit, not gonna lie. But as soon as I found out Coach Chavez was involved with it, it piqued my interest a lot more because Bradley is a good friend of the show, and usually if Bradley's doing something, it's 110%. So I am looking forward to having that, watching him do that first season, and just I don't know, it's something different for the Coastal Bend. I think it'll be fun. I've been to a couple of games like that in the past, and it can be a good time.
Yeah.
Some of the characters out there, but nevertheless, I am looking forward to doing that with Coach Chavez and you, and I think it'll be a good thing moving forward.
So they had the draft. Actually, the combine was here in Corpus a couple of weeks ago, and they are having another open tryout at Taft High School on Saturday. I
How
think
many
there's like a
teams?
$40 registration fee. They're starting with 6 with the potential to expand to 8 before
Gotcha.
the season starts. Yeah, so
Okay.
it's a 16 league right now.
We will
So
not be
keep on the lookout for
traveling.
that. And what's that? Oh yeah, a whole
I
lot of
said we
traveling.
will not be traveling.
And so stay tuned. We'll press on more info as we get it. And yeah, they said it's going to be a fan friendly environment, and they want to cater to the families. So be on the lookout. So I guess with that, let's jump into last week. Right. So again, it was kind of not a lot of big matchups last week, right? But still some interesting games. We'll start with Thursday night. Flower Bluff at Rockport, 46-7. Flower Bluff. We both got the win on that one. We both picked Flower Bluff. I watched a little bit, not a whole lot. Did you get a good dive into that game?
Dude, man, what was I doing? I started the game. So first of all, I'm going to apologize to Coach Bibles watching the show. I had been in contact with him all week about getting clearance for me, you, and Ace to go watch the game. He was able to come through with our passes and whatnot. So Rockport is solid in my book. They continue to keep the streak alive that Jay set for us. But it was unfortunate. I had things pop up with my family that I wasn't able to make it out. You got stuck working, I believe, right? So it was
Yeah,
just one
I
of
was
those
at
things
work.
like and us not being able to make it out to that game, which is super unfortunate because I was wanting to check out Rockport's new turf and whatnot. But so I turned it on a little bit, and I actually ended up running to go get an errand real quick around the corner, and I came back and it was like 28-0. And then me and Ace kind of watched on and off a little bit, and at halftime I think it was like 35-0. And then after halftime, we started doing some stuff as a family and moved forward. And I didn't get to see much more than that. But man, it's just Flower Bluff's looking good again, right? They're rolling. Rockport continuing to struggle, dude. It's one of those years. It's a new coach. You have kids that are used to a certain system. You got a new system you're trying to enroll. It's just growing pains.
Yeah.
I believe Rockport will get back to their ways, right? That we've come used to the last couple of years. Actually, last like 8 years, but it's going to be a work in progress, right? They have their work cut out for them. It's tough, man. It stinks when you get put on local TV like that and you just surrender a loss that bad. It's tough for the kids, tough for the staff, right? But I do have faith in that program. I think Rockport to me is one of the traditional teams that's winners, so I think they'll get back to it eventually.
All right. So next game, sitting at Lavernia. This one was a shocker to us, right? And it almost played out the same way it did last year.
Yep.
47-42 sitting. We both lost that one. We both picked Lavernia in that one. And it looked like it was a very, very interesting game. Sitting was up by a couple touchdowns going into the second half. I remember I tweeted you or I messaged you because I was at the Taft game and you were at the Gregory Portland game. And I was like,
Yes.
dude, Sitting is rolling Lavernia because it was a pretty big lead. And in the second half, man, Lavernia just started churning it out and started scoring some points. It came down to the last drive again, like it did last year. And fortunately for the Pirates, it didn't end the same way as it did last year. Lavernia kind of jumped on top in that last drive, and this one they were able to stop them. So what I'm hearing from the game, I did not watch, but Sitting, as we've talked about, they've got a very experienced secondary. They were really worried about the front on the defensive side. Losing Logan DeWald and Cooper Dawkins, who are now at Sul Ross. Aiden Moody's back. I didn't hear a whole lot about Aiden this week, but um, man, with 4 minutes to go, it was 33-14, and then Lavernia just scored 28 points, right, along with Sitton still scoring. That defensive front still getting up 3 to 5 yard runs per pop, right? So that's not a good sign.
No.
Um, but in this case, you've got to score, and Tristan Hansen finally broke out of his shell. Had a pretty good game. I think he threw for 295 and ran for another 95. 5 total touchdowns last week. Um, so if this is the sitting that's going to materialize, yeah, they got to clear some things up on the defensive front side. But man, if that offense is going to put up points, I mean, it could come down to that last week against Ingleside for the
Yep.
district championship.
Definitely. Um, Man, Sinton is just, I haven't figured them out yet this year, right? Offensively, they seem to struggle. Then defensively, they post a good game. We talked earlier this week about their loss to Port Lavaca. How I said I feel like that was a pretty decent loss. If you're gonna have an L, that's an okay L based off what I saw with Port Lavaca. Um, yeah, getting Tristan Hansen going is going to be huge moving forward because you're going to have to score points against Ingleside, especially if your defense is giving up what they're giving up right now. And yeah, I was a little blown away too on that Lavernian one, man. I was just kind of going off. I'm not gonna lie, I was going off last year's, and I'm a little down on Sinton this year just based off performance right now. But as a solid win for the Pirates, I think it's much needed, right, to turn that
Yep.
season. That's one of those wins that can turn your season completely around, and you can dig deep and still make a good solid playoff run. So I'm happy for Coach Troutman there. Always happy whenever our local teams get a W against teams from out of this area, right? So good win for the Pirates, good win for Coach Troutman and his staff, and hopefully we can start seeing them start rolling a little bit more because you're right, the Ingleside matchup at the end of the week, at the end of the year is going to be pretty epic, I think.
This brings you to your game, Port Lavaca Calhoun at Gregory Portland, 21-14. GP, we both had that one. Kind of unsure what to expect from Calhoun, right? Give us a little dish on that.
So it's your typical Calhoun team, right? That we've come to know. The thing that I noticed differently this year for them, they're not as big up front on either side of the ball. Years past, I actually talked to a couple people in the stands, and it's like they've usually been very big up front, offensive line and defensive line, and they maul you. Not as much size up there this year. Their running backs and skill players had good size, pretty good speed, but I think that's probably their weak link right now. Would be the offensive line, keeping them from doing what they've done in years past. Still a tough team. Portland's got a really good run defense, so them clamping down that I was happy, right, with that. Still kind of gave up a couple like pop passes. One of them got dropped, luckily for us, because dude was wide open. But offense looked good at times, and then we kind of killed ourselves a little bit here and there, and defense looked strong as they always do. So I think Port Lavaca is a much better team what their record implies. So whenever you start seeing them in their district, I expect them to roll, and I expect them to take a pretty good district run. Last year they did the same thing. So um, they're a tough team, dude, but they're a lot better, I think, than that 2-3 record they got right now.
Next game, Orange Grove at San Diego, 29-25 Orange Grove. Orange Grove pulled this one out late. I got the win in this one. You get the loss. For that's a rarity where we're not. It's one or the other, right? We don't have too many of those.
Fat,
Um,
fat
that San
L.
Diego defense, showed up this week, kind of held Logan Rodriguez in check a little bit. They did a lot of damage on the ground. Um, but I mean, that's really all I got. OG doesn't really put a lot of their information out there, and neither does San Diego.
Come on,
Um,
corny. Old school, dude.
not a whole lot to say about that, but Orange Grove still pushing through, right? Coming right into the district. Next game we had
Tough,
on the
dude.
docket. Kingsville at TM, 14-12. Tolosa Midway. We kind of talked about this game earlier. It was moved to Saturday. We both won this one. TM took the win.
Yep.
Very close. Came down to a 2-point conversion at the end that was missed. That would have sent the game into overtime.
Yes.
And the next game we had on the docket, Cuero at Beeville, 49-21 Cuero. We both had that one. Cuero jumped out to a 28-0 lead on that one. But if you remember against Cal Allen, you know, Sebastian Dennis was able to extend plays. And that's kind of what happened here. You're up 28-0 and you win 49-21, and you're saying, well, you still had some issues. Yeah, there was some blown coverage in the secondary because Elijah Sustada was able to extend plays and had a lot of breakdowns in the secondary, wide open receivers. They also had a kickoff return for a touchdown against Cuero. Beeville did. So giving up big plays on special teams. So Cuero's really going to need to clean that up,
Yep.
heading into these matchups in the playoffs with Silsby, Wimberley, maybe again. Right.
I was
So,
gonna say, when you start facing teams like Wimberley and especially Silsby with that skill set that's equal to yours, that's where these deficiencies in the secondary that they have to be cleaned up. Right, that's the difference
yep.
maker. Because right now you can kind of out athlete some people in some of these matchups we've seen. But you're right, man. You get up there, especially with Silsby, with a guy like Draylon Miller who took the L last year to you.
Yeah.
You know that's got a fire in his mind as well. Another 4-star commit, right, to the next level. So he's a hell of an athlete. Um, yeah, you're 100% right. And that's you talked to Michael about this or what? Is this who gave?
No, I actually I did some homework, man.
Okay. Well, I figured Michael's a pretty dang good
Mike's a good
access.
source. Mike's a good
He's
source.
a
Yeah.
very good source because he doesn't have blinders on as much as the Cal Allen people think he does,
Yeah.
right? He is a good source, and I'm sure he would tell you the same thing. That's kind of why I figured you're getting that info and having to clean some stuff up. But yeah, man, you're 100% right on that with Cuero.
Nah, man, I had like 2 hours show prep today, dude. Come on.
Way better than
Come
me.
on, dude. And the last one, which was our game of the week, the Backroad Brawl. Odom at Taft, 34-16 Odom. We both got that one. Taft's hurting, dude. Taft is hurting. They lost a lot of seniors last year. They're real young on the offensive line. That's really where it was lost. You had JJ Costa back there kind of running for his life. They couldn't establish the run game. And man, the Odom defense came to play. They were forcing JJ in a bunch of hurried throws, a bunch of bad throws. He threw an interception. They coughed the ball up a lot they fumbled a couple of times that Odom recovered. So Odom's defense is pretty salty, man. They played San Diego, like I said, pretty tight. Other than this loss to San Diego, it's one of the tightest games they played all season. Keep an eye out for Odom, in this district. Like I said, this district's wide open.
Back.
They got the trophy back, right? They're excited. I was able to present it.
They got it for the first time, right?
They got it for the first time. So I was able to present it. I was at this game, finally made it to a game. And they looked good. Taft is man, we'll see. We'll see what happens with Taft. Jay's playing both ways. He's starting at quarterback and he's playing safety. He just got off the concussion protocol last week, so I was really surprised to see him playing both ways. But we'll see, man. We'll see what happens with Taft this season. So this week you finished 5-2. I finished 6-1. Yep. That brings our records to 27-9 and 26-10. I'm catching you, dude. I'm catching up on you.
I'm just gonna pick whoever you pick each week now.
just to keep it the same, right? So hang on, let me bring this up real quick. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Video. Nope, that's not what I wanted either. Man, they keep changing every time I get on here, and okay. No,
while waiting on that, I'm gonna give one more shout out, man, because we talked about it earlier. Ben Bolt 20-8 over Pettis. I know you're probably thinking where'd that come from on Ben Bolt, but got a buddy right now who's helping me right now with a pool, and he actually sponsors all of Ben Bolt football. Right? He started listening to the show, and he actually asked me today, "Hey, when's your next show?" Because they cut my internet cable.
So that's how you lost your internet. They cut it.
Yeah, his dudes accidentally cut it when they were digging the trench. But we got it back. It wasn't a big deal. But he did ask. He's all, "You're gonna have internet for your show tonight?" And I was like, "Yeah. Thank God." Spec came through. But yeah, it's kind of cool, man. He gave me these little footballs right here. Gave me one for Ace, one for my desk.
Oh, nice.
Go Badgers. Good dude, man. He told me how he kind of got into that. He's a Ben Bolt boy, right? And he
you know who else is a Ben Bolt guy, right?
Who?
Jose Trevino.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
He's a Ben Bolt guy. Yeah, he went to John Paul, but he's a Ben Bolt guy.
Okay, see, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he's a Ben Bolt guy.
See, Sonny needs to hit up Jose, help out a little bit with the sponsorships, right? Because Sonny's the one that takes care of all Bimbold athletics. He told me that not many people were doing much for him, so he stepped in, and that's a stand up job, right? So it's kind of cool. He deserved a shout out for that, and also deserved a shout out for cutting that internet cable.
Hey, you just got you got the okay for London, didn't?
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Thanks, Ron. We appreciate it. So yeah, just let them know that you're with. I'll get it with you in a bit. Not gonna, because everybody's gonna say that. So yeah, you got the go ahead.
Okay.
That just came through. Okay. So with that, we actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 highlights this week, which is it's an increase right from the week before. So without further ado. So our 97 Sports Promotion helmet sticker of the week plays. Again, we hit you guys up all the time. If you guys need some new decals, full size mini helmets, hit up our guy Doug Carter at 97 Sports Promotion.
Send them in.
You will get sticker shock. I can't emphasize that enough. You will get sticker shock in a good way with the pricing you will get for your full size helmet decals for your teams, whether it's varsity, whether it's peewee. He's going to beat a lot of prices, man. He's got his own print shop. That's why he's able to keep prices so low. He doesn't have to go out to a third-party vendor to print this stuff out. He does everything in-house. Very quick turnaround.
Very
He's actually thinking about coming out for the Coach O'Bain Coaches Association clinic and setting up shop with us. So he can actually show his stuff out there with some of these local team logos and stuff, so you can actually see this stuff.
It'd be a good way to get his market, get the market down here for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So without further ado, let's get it going. All right, hang on. Let me unload this and load it again.
They're talking about Mason, dude. People at Cuero, they weren't sure what to think when he got to the varsity level. They weren't. They didn't realize he was going to turn into be such a solid quarterback for them, right?
They weren't expecting it, right?
No, not at all. I think a lot of people expected him to be a runner, right? But he's turned into a pretty decent passer as well for them.
Okay, I'm going to have to do this another way because this way is not working very well. Hang on, I'm going to share screen because that'll probably be better than this way. Let me open it over here. Always, right? It's always something.
Always something.
Always something.
Can't help it. Part of the show at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. If we're not having technical difficulties, there's something wrong. There we go.
Nice. A little help with that one.
Yeah, a little bit. Let me see if I can get my name off here.
See, there he is as a runner. Solid runner, dude. He single-handedly kind of put them in that game against Silsby.
Yeah.
With his legs last year, if I remember correctly. Lucio. Did a touch on that pass.
Yep.
I still claim that I think Jaden's one of the top 3 quarterbacks down here, no doubt, man. Him and Trevor, it seems like each week continue to put up really good highlights. Great form. Man, it's nice. That's a new name for us, Jacoby
Yeah. Yeah, he kind of popped up on the scene last year, had a couple of good games last year. He's doing very well this season.
Well, Tristan Hansen sighting too, huh?
Yeah.
That's worthy. It's nice. Coco, I was there for this. I didn't realize how many tackles he got last week, man.
Playing on the defensive side of the ball,
Mm-hmm.
Everybody.
I will say that, yeah, he did have a really good. That was a big interception right there too. It was needed. We were in a bind. Oh yeah, there's the inadvertent whistle, Tristan. See, I think this is the guy they thought they were getting all year.
I think so. Yeah.
The hype behind him coming into the season just from the fans, right? You talk to, and I think people who watched him growing up as a Pop Warner kid and whatnot. This was the guy they've been waiting on.
This you got an LYB sighting in the background.
Yay!
Yeah, I think I see Pat.
Wow, dude. Wow, they continue to put it up there. That's not that's intentional.
That's politicking for some airtime.
That's politicking for sure, dude. Here's a
Mark
video.
sent in highlights last week, and I forgot to put them up. Man, that's what I get for waiting so long to put these reels together.
Last week was a weird week again, dude. We didn't have as many as we normally do. It's all right. Happens. Nice pass.
Hey, did you see the Referral Sports guys got rings
I did not see that.
from the
RSN?
track and field team that won state?
Really, Ryan
Yeah,
and that's cool.
and Billy, yeah. Coach Spiegelman hooked him up and got him rings, so they got a couple state championship rings. So there is our 97 sports promotion helmet sticker nominees. Who do you got?
You go first.
I'm going to give mine to Mason.
Okay.
We get show some Cuero love around here. We don't get a lot of Cuero highlights, so had a very good game.
So I'm gonna go ahead since I didn't give out anything last week, and I'm gonna double down with the Sitting Boys.
Oh, you're going to go both, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to Hanson, and I'm gonna give it to Jacoby.
Okay, nice.
I think
Okay,
that was merited. That was a good win for them. To me, I feel like that was much needed in their program. And Hanson finally had his game, and Jacoby had a heck of a catch. So I can't not give one to him. He helped out. They helped each other out a lot. So I'll double down. I got
all
lost.
right,
I got
all right.
lost.
We'll get those in the mail. I swear we will get those in the mail. So this week 6. Man, we only got about 4 or 5 games to go over for next week. We'll start with one that's kind of an eyebrow raiser a little bit, but Corpus Christi Miller at Victoria East. Last season, a 66-21 Miller. Miller's 4-0, coming off a 68-14 win over Ray in the Hall of Fame game. Victoria East 2-2, coming off a 43-7 win over Carroll. That's kind of a shocking score. I thought that game was going to be a little closer than 43-7. Najarel Prater was the difference in that game. Had 195 total yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 rushing. He threw for 1. A lot of big plays. Prater had a 40-yard touchdown run, a 60-yard touchdown run, and he threw a 40-yard touchdown pass. So it looks like Carroll was the victim of the big play and just couldn't recover.
Yeah. I would have assumed it'd been a little closer as well. I saw Carroll as well, but they got a lot of athletes out there in Victoria, and I don't know, man. I watched them against was it Portland, right? That was East we played, or was it West? They're so
Uh,
dang familiar, dude.
I know. I don't know.
Either way, man, you know that they bring tons of athletes to the table.
Oh man, hang on. So my wife just texted me, and for
I was about
some
to say
reason,
I was gonna
the
tell you
chat's not
our chat's not up because I
the
just
chat.
went to Facebook to look to see what's going on, and our
Yeah, the
chat's
chat's
down.
not the chat. I was like, man, it's pretty quiet.
That's why I
But yeah,
was drifting on the Miller matchup this week because I was looking at that chat trying to figure out what happened to it.
yeah, man. I don't know. Hang on, let me close this. That's very weird, man. Why it's
Got
not
back to
showing
you
up?
way ahead of it.
Yeah,
We got a new producer.
yeah, we got a new producer. Yeah, man, that's weird. I don't know why it's not coming up. But so, man, there's all this stuff on here. So
Damn it.
Man, Jaden Lozano, San Diego quarterback one, lost to Orange Grove team, 18-30, 260 yards, 3 touchdowns. Man, Chris, send those highlights in, dude. I mean, that's the biggest thing, right? We put this we put these highlight reels out here because we wanna highlight the kids, and if we don't get any, we can't put them out, right? So, but sorry, let's go back to man. That was very distracting. Wow, I didn't even know. I was just wondering. I was like, man, we're not getting any comments. See, Keith Kerr was the one we saw when we first started here, and then so it was loading for a little bit,
Yeah.
and then it just stopped. That's weird, man. Okay. Um, so like I said, so they were the victim of the big play last week, right? Miller's got the usual suspects, right? It's pretty much pick your poison with those guys.
Yes.
I mean, it's hard to go against Miller,
Oh,
you know,
I'm Miller.
right now.
I'm riding Miller to the wheels fall off this year.
Yeah. I
I will
think
say though, this could be a good challenge for them, just with for their defense with the athletes that East of them have. I think this is a good matchup for their defense to see where they're at, especially for that deeper run. Right when you start seeing teams with a little more athleticism that match up with you. But
yeah,
as of now, it's Miller Bucks all the way for me.
yeah, I think so too.
You said East, right?
The
East? You got East?
yeah, no, I did not say East. So another game that we've got coming up that we just got. I'm kind of going out of order here because we got some of these last minute. Cal Allen at Kingsville. I did not get last season's score. I missed that. Cal Allen's 3-1, 1-0 in district with a 28-7 win over Zapata last week. Kingsville 2-3, 0-1 with that 12-14 loss to TM. Kingsville, they're led by quarterback Dylan Everett. He's got 370 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, 755 passing yards, and 3 touchdowns. He's got some playmakers around him. Number one being Terrell Jackson at wide receiver. The defense getting pretty salty over there. You got strong safety John Kaysen, who's a sophomore. He made an appearance on the show last year for the Helmet Stickers Award as a freshman. He's leading the area, big school and small school in tackles with 58. Middle linebacker Jaden Martinez is up there with 41 tackles as well. The biggest things that I'm hearing and seeing from Kingsville is that they're struggling on the offensive line. They could have some success passing, but that offensive line's got to work, right? Because we've talked about the secondary of Cal Allen. Sometimes they've got the tendency to get burned a little bit. So they could, but they've got to face that Cal Allen defense.
So I'm going to give Cal Allen some props here, right? And people in Cal Allen are going to freak out, but to me, their secondary this year has been pretty solid. And I know that's crazy, but I watched them play Portland. They did a good job defensively against Portland's offense. We like to throw the ball a lot. They did a very good job against Flower Bluff secondary. I mean, against the Flower Bluff's receiving core. I know the Bluff had some drops in that game, but hey, they were out in the field. They were there. They were making plays. They did a pretty decent job against Cuero as well. I think I kind of feel like I noticed a couple things where they were. It seems like on the deep ball they might lose out, right, versus some speed. That 10 to 15 yard mark, they have height on the ends on the corners, and they do a good job of covering, right. So I think Callan's defense, if that offensive line from Kingsville is not up to par, that defensive line from Callan's going to do what Coach Campbell and them do best. Man, they're going to get pressure on Everett, and it's going to force. You're going to force Price and bad throws, and I'd give Cal Allen probably the upper hand on that as well. And then just offensively, I talked to you about this week. I think you're not going to see anything flashy from Cal Allen at all. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a 28-0, 28-7 game again for them. I think you're going to see Luke Medina left, Luke Medina right, Luke Medina mid, and then every now and then you'll have the quarterback bust a play for him as well. It seems like that's kind of the route they're going this year. They line up in shotgun and just run pretty much power run at you with Medina, and I kind of expect the same thing this week. It's just it's what it is right now this year for Cal Allen. Like we said, the 28-7 Zapata win years past with Cal Allen, that'd have been 55-0, I feel like. So
Yeah.
I think you're going to see this a similar setting this week as well. I'd love insight from Cal Allen fans who watch the team weekly, what their real thoughts are of this team and what they could do and what they are going to do. But that's kind of what I'm seeing, and that's kind of what I'm thinking. Having said that, obviously I'm taking Cal Allen.
Yeah, and I would tell y'all guys to chat or put in the chat, but it's not working, so can't do much about that. Yeah, I'm gonna take Cal Allen on that one as well. I don't see any change there as well. I think that score is gonna be a little higher. just because that defense I think is going to force some turnovers and force Everett to make some mistakes. So I think that they may have some defensive scores. That's my prediction. Let me see. Let me jump around again. Where's our next big one that we've got here? Next big school game. I guess we're working our way down the ladder. Edna at London. Last season it was 49-3. Edna's 2-1-1. They had a bye last week. That sitting game, which did not kick off, is going down as a tie. See, this kind of goes back what we were saying last week with these no contests and one team picking a win, one team picking a loss. Some calling them no contest. Here's one where it ended in a tie.
That's cool.
London's 4-1 with a 43-0 win over Aransas Pass. That one loss to the Refugio Bobcats. Edna, the names you're going to hear a lot is quarterback Jaden Clay and running back Cade Rodas. You're going to get a lot of those two. You probably saw a lot of it last year as well. London, Alexander Manning's coming around. I think he threw for almost 200 yards last week, 183. I think Zach Chapa was the leading rusher last week, so it was a new name that we saw back there. They scored 30 first half points last week, so that kind of set the tone for the second half. I imagine. Well, it just looks like the starters didn't get a whole lot of time in the second half. I don't see this one ending in favor of London.
I don't either. If you go off just the mutual opponent, it's Refugio, right? Edna,
Yep.
some would say had Refugio beat. Some would say they beat Refugio. London not as fortunate. They played them pretty tough, but then ultimately Refugio pulled away. So I think Edna's got a really strong team this year, and that's not taking nothing away from London on this pick. I think London's good as well. I just think Edna has the upper hand, and they're the more advanced team at this point. So I'm taking Edna.
Yeah, I am too. I won't give a score, but yeah, I'm going to pick Edna as well. Um, the next game we've got, which is a surprise one, is Santa Rosa at Odom.
Yep.
Last season it was 21-20. Santa Rosa, Odom could not finish that game. They had the game, the last possession, and just could not punch it in. Odom is 2-2 with a 34-14 win over Taft last week in the Backroad Brawl. Santa Rosa's 3-1 with a 27-14 win over George West. They are both 1-0 in district. Odom, Josh Chavita is pretty steady at quarterback. You know, he's not doing a bad job for his first year replacing the 4-year starter and Hunter Dawson. They've got a running back by committee thing going on there with Adam Romero, no relation, and Aiden Lozano, who was a Elite Tank Solutions Player of the Week nominee this week, finished with 158 yards last week against Taft. And they've got some shifty receivers, Trey Canales and Aiden Martinez back there. Trey's kind of the big bruiser guy, and Aiden's the shifty speed guy out there. The defense is very stingy. Just like I said, they had a couple turnovers last week against Taft. They've had a couple turnovers the week before. Trey was actually my helmet sticker game winner last week for an interception he had. He had an 80-yard touchdown and he had a controversial no call interception there on the sidelines early in the first half. It was a heck of a play. I got a video. You just couldn't tell if he grabbed possession of it or not, but the referee called it no catch. Santa Rosa, they run a spread, but they will shift to a two-back offense. They're about 70-30 run to pass right now. They've got a very stingy defense as well. Their corners and their secondary is a little small, but they're big, man. Typical Valley School, right? You got these big linemen up there, so they're very big. The running backs is kind of a thunder and lightning combination. Diego Cruz is kind of the smaller, shifty guy who's the lightning side of that, and JJ Anaya, who's the thunder side of that. Like I said, their defense is pretty stingy, but they lost their 4-year starter last week, linebacker Andrew Ballin. Last year, he had 156 tackles last year. I think he tore his ACL in a pick six against George West last week. Kind of got tied up with the quarterback and fell wrong and grabbed his knee right away. Yeah, man. The thing about this game is because the district is so wide open, the winner of this game could be the front runner for the district championship.
Yep.
That's it.
I'm sorry, you're ever so often you cut off. So I think the mouth sometimes is a little off with the audio. So I was like, okay, still talking. What do we got? Man, the whole time you're talking, I was looking them up. Everyone up on Max Preps trying to figure this one out. So I know where you're going. You're going Odom. You have to.
Yeah.
I want to go to Santa Rosa, man, but I don't know if I'm super impressed with their schedule, and losing that linebacker hurts as well. F it. Santa
It's going
Rosa.
to be tough, man. I mean, this is going
Santa
to be
Rosa.
another.
We'll go Santa Rosa. I'll give you a chance to redeem to catch me. Santa Rosa.
This is a toss up, dude. Actually, let me go
Gamblers
to
gamble.
DCTF. Let me see what let's see what the computers have for this one because this I think this one's going to be a toss up, dude. Let me
Santa
see.
Rosa.
Let's.
Santa Rosa. Santa Rosa. Santa Rosa.
Here we go. There's the rankings, snapshot day. Here we go. Game projections and predictions. Let me log in here. I don't know why I did. Man, I told you I was so behind with everything today. I didn't look at any of this stuff on the win probabilities and any of that stuff. Okay, so 3AD2.
What do we got?
That's the other thing. They put them in weird ways. Oh, it's close. So they got Santa Rosa by 5 with a 63.5% win probability.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Santa Rosa's 3-1. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. They're 3-1 with a loss to Brownsville St. Joe, who's always a powerhouse in taps. That is their loss. But like I said, they had a 27-14 win over George West. And that game's kind of is a question mark. They had that pick six, and they had like a scoop and score, or they held George West, turnover and downs inside their 10 and scored in right away. So
And George
we'll
West
see,
is
man.
4.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I mean. So we'll see. We'll see. It's going to come down to that inexperience on the offensive line for Odom. That's going to be the difference. If they're going to
Yeah.
give Chavita time to throw, or if they can establish that running game. So it's going to be tough, but I'm going to go with my Owls on that one.
Take them down.
And then that takes us to our our game of the week, which we are sharing with Channel 6. Channel 6 will be out there for football night, and that is going to be Refugio at Three Rivers. Last season, 58-7, Refugio. We went to that game last year. Remember, we saw the chicken guy walking around at that game.
Yeah.
Refugio's 4-1 with a loss to top 10 Hitchcock and 3A D1. They came off a 61-0 win over Bloomington. Three Rivers is 4-1, 1-0 with a 55-13 win over Skidmore last week. Here's something that Billy Sweeney and his guys put together here real quick. The last 5 meetings, Refugio scored 50 plus points uh, against Three
I'm
Rivers.
surprised Billy put that together.
Yeah, so I mean, they actually put a nice little chart together for these pregames. So
They do.
last year, 58-7, 55-0, 51-7, 53-14, 55-0. Interesting tidbit I saw here on the news: the last time Three Rivers beat the Bobcats was 1997.
Also,
When
this
they're
seems to be every year one of the games of the week because Three Rivers is usually rolling at this point.
Yeah, it was our game of the week last year.
Yep.
So Derek Lancaster, we were talking about Jaden Smith being number 1 in the state. Lancaster's number 4 as far as receptions goes. Yeah, so he's number 4. They're led by a couple of time nominee for the Elite Tank Solutions Player of the Week, Caden Solis there at quarterback. He's putting up some solid numbers. The Three Rivers kids are very big, but I don't know if that's going to match up very well with the speed of the Bobcats. I think that's what it's going to be, right? The saying goes, "Speed kills," right?
I think it's gonna be very similar to last year, man. Three Rivers is a good team, dude. But at the end of the day, you're talking about a team that's well on its way to probably marching up there for a state title, at least competing for it. Um, it's just Three Rivers is not in the same category right now. I don't think. I think there's too much talent on the Refugio sideline for Three Rivers to really slow it down. And you're right, dude. Speed kills, and Refugio's a different animal, right? It's not that's not your regular 2A D1 school, man. They're at this point in their history a perennial blue blood power that is going to probably have a 10-win season before they get to playoffs and continue forward. You'll have the occasional shiner team pop in there, and when they get stuck in their district with a give them a heck of a time. But right now, dude, I just think Refugio's got a way bigger leg up than a lot of teams in their district, and that's tough to overcome, especially when they have this kind of talent on the field.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with Refugio in this one too. I'll be at this game. I'm going to head out to Three Rivers on Friday afternoon, tomorrow afternoon. And man, I haven't been to Three Rivers. Man, I think it was a playoff game that Odom played there in a few years ago. They've got nice facilities out there.
They got a nice facility for sure.
Yeah. So I'll head out there, and I think you're going to be at London,
I should
London
be going
Edna.
to London at Edna game.
Okay. Okay. And we have one more thing before we got to go, right? Our Elite Tank Solutions Player of the Week. So this actually was very close up until this morning, and this morning it kind of just took off for the winner. It was neck and neck between Ethan Vela and Aiden Lozano, but our winner this week, Corpus Christi Miller wide receiver Ethan Vela. From what you hear, kind of the most underutilized kid on that offensive side of the ball, and that's there's only so many balls to go around to everybody, right? Because you could say that with any one of those guys. Corey Holmes hasn't really put up a big rushing game yet because what how do you have the time to spread the ball to give the ball to everybody?
Yeah.
You know? I mean, they're jumping up to so many points. The starters are getting pulled at the half or in the third quarter, and they've just got so many playmakers
And honestly, man, that's smart.
on
You don't
Miller.
want to get people hurt.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to, right? I mean, the goal right now for these guys is the district championship, right? And right now that district championship goes through Corpus Christi veterans, right? So
Yep.
that's coming up, right? That's pretty much the game of the year in the region
Did you
or
go
in the
see Jay
area.
today and get our passes? By the way,
I did not. You didn't tell me anything. If you talked to him or not.
shoot, I did. I thought I texted you. We're good to go.
No, you didn't. So I could do that tomorrow.
Okay.
I could do that tomorrow. I'll go. I'll go pick those up, and that way we're ready. We're not scrambling last minute
Goodness.
when we can't get a hold of them.
He knows, dude. He's dealt with this last 6 years. He knows.
Yeah, but you got anything before we go, man? This is like record time. We are under an hour.
Nope, nothing really. Man, it's been kind of a little. It's been tough these last couple weeks, man. Just with the games lining up and the weather and stuff, kind of put a little dampener on some of the stuff we've been able to do.
Yeah, yeah. So, and the work schedule that's helped us. That's kind of been difficult as well. So, speaking of work schedule, right? So, another little announcement that we probably should have led the show off. Justin and I are no longer going to be working together. Uh, that that uh that ends on the 4th of October. Um, I will be moving on. We're still gonna run the show. We're just gonna have to get creative a little bit during when Justin's working nights. I'm gonna be on straight days for a while. So when Justin's working nights, we usually do a daytime show. I won't be available because I'll be working days. So we'll have to get creative. We'll probably bring some guest hosts in during those night shows. We'll get some guys from Caller Times, maybe Larissa from Channel 6, Chris from Channel 3, or some of the guys from the Advocate, depending where we're playing. Maybe we'll get Billy Sweeney and Ryan Lindy on here as well. I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure something out, man. But yeah, so I'm leaving our place of employment for the last 6 years and going somewhere else, and we'll figure it out from there. But Justin, you got anything before we go?
Not really, man. I'll do the show from work.
Why not? Why not? Right? Why not?
Yeah, no, nothing crazy. We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
You're gonna see me knocking down Shanir's door. So
Hey, man. Hey, man. Okay, guys. Well, that's all we got, and we will see you next week. Be on the lookout on social media for our highlights during the games this weekend. Depending on what happens at the Refugio game, I could be there all game. I could leave at the half, and maybe I end up at Odom Santa Rosa. We'll see. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.